Good morning and welcome to the 2017 Tinley Park Memorial Day Ceremony. My name is Major Wiley Roberts. I'm a retired Air Force Reserve, and I'm also the chairman of the Tinley Park Veterans Commission. At this time, please silence all electronic devices and rise as we post the colors. Detail, post the colors.
Right. Hey! Hold the national colors, please. Post unit colors. Stand at ease. Order, march.
Please join us in the national anthem. Thank you. At this time, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance are members of the Clark and Sutter family, our Gold Star family.
Color guard. Freeze. Order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Order. Color guard. Right. Hey. Word.
Please be seated. I would welcome to the podium Reverend David Peters, the senior pastor from the Zion Lutheran Church here in Tinley Park, for the invocation.
Thank you. It was on Memorial Day observances like this in 1985 that then President Reagan offered these words. When a serviceman dies, it is a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the Founding Fathers, gray and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died. And they gave up two lives. The one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we cannot repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us. And so on this day of remembering, we ask God to bless the memory of all those who have offered this sacrifice. And we ask God to come and bless this gathering here today. Please join me as we pray. Heavenly Father, today we remember and pay tribute to the men and women of the armed services who have died in the defense of our nation from the days of the Revolution until now. They paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms we hold so dear. We call upon you, O Lord, to receive these servants of peace into your loving embrace and grant them the eternal peace that surpasses all understanding. We also remember the family members of these great heroes. Bestow upon them the blessing of your consolation and peace. May you ease their sadness as they look for serenity and hope. We call upon you that wars might end. May our prayer for true and lasting peace be answered in accordance with your will and for the good of your sons and daughters. Grant this all according to your good purpose. Those who have died gave their ultimate sacrifice, and we respectfully remember them today. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. It is my distinct privilege to introduce our newly elected mayor of the village of Tinley Park, the Honorable Jacob Vandenberg.
Good morning, Tinley Park. It's a true honor. It's extremely humbling to stand before you this morning as we pay tribute to the men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice, and for all the veterans that are present as well. I do have a couple of my fellow board members and colleagues present with us this morning. I'd like to point them out at this time. We have Trustee Michael Glotz, who's back here in the far left, and Trustee Cynthia Burr. So, thank you very much for being here. I'd also like to acknowledge retired Brigadier General and former clerk of Tinley Park, who is a mentor and a friend, and I'm glad that he's here with us today, Clerk Pat Ray. That are here that I'm not seeing, thank you for being here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep it quick because it's not about us, it's about the memories of the people that have gone before us. I'd like to just mention one thing that I mentioned on Saturday at a monument ceremony at the VFW. It takes a village to run a village, it takes residents to be a part of this village. And I can just stress this by looking out into the crowd today. It's extremely admirable that we have so many residents here with us today to celebrate this extremely important ceremony and Remembrance Day. So keep this in mind, folks, that we need your support as the village to continue running, to remember these days. This is extremely important for the village government, but as well as the town in whole. So a good, strong town is only as important by seeing the strong faith and response from its village residents. So again, thank you very much for being here with us today. It's extremely humbling to stand before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Vandenberg. Also in attendance today is my good friend and fellow Air Force veteran, Pat Carr, and also any village, Tinley Park Village Hall staff in attendance. Please signify by raising your hand. There we go, way in the back there. Thank you. Members of the Tinley Park Veterans Commission, I know you're here. Signify by raising your hand to be recognized. Please join me in thanking the members of the Andrew High School Band under the direction of Mark Iwinski for providing our today's music for our children. I would also like to thank our Honor Guard, comprised of members of our fine service organizations here in Tinley Park. The American Legion Post 615, VFW Post 2791, the Marine Corps League, the Kevin Clark Chapter, Korean War Veterans, Military Order of the Purple Heart, and the Submariner Group Chicago Base for attending today and honoring us with your services. It's warm today, and it's not raining, and I love it. My turn to speak. As long as patriots live, our freedoms are secure. However, everyone knows that freedom is not free. It comes at a cost. That cost is the ultimate sacrifice made by the men and women whose loyalty, dedication, and courage placed them in harm's way. Today is very special, for without Memorial Day, all other holidays would not be possible. For without the sacrifice made by those brave men and women who wear the uniforms of the U.S. Armed Services, we would not enjoy the freedoms provided under the Constitution of the United States of America. We must, therefore, stay true to our promise that we will never forget. A constant reminder currently flies beneath the American flag. Inscribed on the POWMIA flag is another promise. It reads, "You are not forgotten." Promises are important. When anyone joins any of our military branches, they are instructed to raise their right hand and recite an oath. The same oath that the President must take when he is sworn in at the inauguration ceremony and is only then allowed to officially assume his duties. It reads, "I do solemnly swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same." This oath ends with the phrase, "So help me God." The word that sticks out to me is allegiance. American citizens share this bond of allegiance with the military. The dictionary defines allegiance as loyalty or commitment of a subordinate to a superior or of an individual to a group or cause. Those wishing to receive citizenship must swear allegiance to the Republic. Synonyms of allegiance would be loyalty, faithfulness, fidelity, obedience, homage, and devotion. The true message of Memorial Day is best described by the poem "In Flanders Fields." In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amidst the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. I see the image of the Statue of Liberty. Think of those who have sacrificed for our freedom and keep that promise the next time you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. For many today, this marks the first day of barbecue season. A reminder that you may need a new mattress or simply a 3-day weekend. But your presence here today brings peace and joy to our fallen heroes, knowing that they are not forgotten. Thank you. One of my jobs as chairman of the Veterans Commission is to encourage the youth of our community to participate. And in doing so, one of the programs that's available to them is the Voice of Democracy essay contest. And we're blessed to have the winner of this year's contest, and I'd like to invite her up on stage to present to you. There we go. And this is Katie Ostrowski. Please welcome her.
Such an honor that I was invited here today to speak in front of all of you, and I'm so happy that I could be here. So here I go, here's my speech. My responsibility to America. Letting your guard down meant losing your life, said one veteran. 4 and 5-year-olds selling pop to soldiers while holding grenades behind their backs. U.S. infantry faced women and children holding bazookas and automatic guns in the Vietnam War. April 20th, 1970. A 19-year-old soldier was manning a .50 caliber in an APC during a sweep. The barrel of the gun tripped a wire, causing an explosion to spew shrapnel in all directions. The soldier lost his sight and still has metal in his hands and face 40 years later. That soldier who carries a Purple Heart lost his sight defending this country's vision. Honorably, this soldier did not pity himself. He was grateful that he made it out with all of his limbs. Every soldier sacrifices something for the sake of this country. It is this heroism exemplified that inspires me to spread goodness and charity to all in need so that I can attempt to repay the soldiers who fought for my freedom. It is my responsibility to America to honor the sacrifices made by veterans by showing my thankfulness every day and striving to be a better citizen. Upon being born a citizen of the United States of America, I was granted a certain set of rights. The freedom to express myself, worship as I wish, love who I want, receive an education, vote in presidential elections, and pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. These privileges were several of the many gifted to all American citizens. The founders of this country came to America in search of freedom from imperialist Britain, seeking a land where one could live free. Today, soldiers are still patriotically showing love for this beautiful country by risking their own lives for our freedom. Responsibility is defined as having an obligation to do something as a part of one's job or role. Not only am I responsible for myself, but for this revolutionary country we call home. I must go above and beyond in my community, within my life and the lives of others, if an impact is to be made. My role is to be the best I can be, to inspire the youth, and to help those who are unable to help themselves. I will take full advantage of the freedom I was blessed with, the strength and courage of our soldiers and forefathers. According to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., today our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change. To meet this change, the American youth must be the foundation of our future. In order to preserve a prosperous future, they must be prepared with knowledge and ideas to plant the seed of success to create a better life for themselves. As Dr. King stated, the survival of man depends on its ability to adapt to our ever-revolutionizing society. The youthful mind is a sponge, constantly gaining information and ideas. It is the many in my generation and those to come who will have the largest impact on the future. The generations before us set the foundation of hard work, liberty, and success. Now it is our turn to strengthen that foundation. It is my responsibility to take full advantage of the right that women and men fought so hard to achieve, to make my voice heard by voting. By voting, I will guide the path for society that I wish to see and exercise a right that many are denied. An example must be set for the generations to come. This is the only world we have been blessed with. Peace and prosperity must be attained. It is my responsibility, as well as my fellow Americans, to accomplish these goals by working together to better this country. This nation's prosperity was not achieved by one individual man, but by an effort of generations seeking happiness and freedom. When people come together with a goal in mind, it can be accomplished diligently. Helping others not only brings happiness to those you aid, but a sense of accomplishment in one's life. Volunteering is so simple, yet has the potential to change many lives. It is my responsibility to serve this country in honors of those who serve it. The least I can do for my community is to find time to help improve it in ways such as volunteering at soup kitchens and donating clothes, blankets, food and toys, and books to the less fortunate. Cleaning up neighborhood parks and streets and planting trees. There are so many things I can do to better my community that involve so little effort. For 27 years, my mother has worked for a veterans hospital. First as a nurse, then as nurse manager. Seeing my mother's effort and dedication to the veterans and her family inspired me to follow in her footsteps. For 6 years, she worked 2 jobs to support my family. The respect she gained for the veterans for this beautiful country. Without them, I would not know the freedom that I know. It is my responsibility as an American to exercise every right I have been given and use the short time I have on earth to positively contribute to society through my actions and my words. I will live my life for the memory of those who fought for my freedom and right to happiness and responsibility to this beautiful country I call home. Actions speak louder than words. The responsibility an American citizen has is a great one that must be contributed to until those final precious breaths. Each day holds a new opportunity for simple acts of kindness. Upon pondering my responsibility to America, I am reminded of those who gave me that responsibility, who fought and gave their lives so that I could be free. It is too easily forgotten how blessed we are to have that liberty that so many are denied. We must give thanks and show appreciation by continuing to grow and progress as individuals and as a nation. Thank you.
It makes me feel good that I can see proof positive that our future is in good hands. Thank you, Katie. At this time in our program, we have traditions here in Tinley Park, and one of them that we've established is the Battlefield Cross ceremony. And I would like to turn this program over to these gentlemen to go ahead and present the Battlefield Cross, or the KIA ceremony. Thank you.
Sound pretty good right there? Can you hear me? My name is Bruce Lawrence. I'm the leader of the VFW Post 2791 Honor Guard Detail right from Tinley Park, and also a member of the Veterans Commission. Many of us veterans, active and retired members of the military, are wearing our service uniforms today in memory of our fallen comrades. Shortly, we will be building up a KIA monument, also known as the Battlefield Cross, in memory of our servicemen and women who have been killed in action in past and current wars and conflicts. Without the armed forces of the United States of America, we would not have the freedom we enjoy today, for freedom is never free. Unfortunately, all wars have been costly for our men and women in the armed forces. Between Iraq and Afghanistan, we have lost over 4,000 Americans and many more wounded. While that number may seem small in the context of past wars, their loss and a loss to their family and community is of great consequence. When a serviceman or woman is lost in the battlefield, it has been customary to arrange their boots, rifle, dog tags, and helmet. And the surviving members of the squad will gather around and honor their fallen comrade. Some of the troops will pray. Others might recall their personal stories, but make no mistake, I'll just wait for the train to leave. But make no mistake, this is a ceremony that is taken very seriously. Every soldier knows the next ceremony might be for them. This arrangement is also known as the Battlefield Cross or Battle Cross. Our VFW commander, Command Sergeant Major Fred Cagle, will lead the Battlefield Cross ceremony. Fred has personally viewed 2 of these KIA ceremonies in the battlefields during his extensive career with the U.S. Army from Vietnam to the Middle East.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Bruce said, I am the commander of the VFW in Tinley Park. I also served 32 years with the military. Now I'm a command sergeant major. The Honor Guard, members from the VFW, American Legion, and the Marine Corps League, will now build a monument in front of you. A monument that anyone who has ever served in the military will recognize. Sergeant of the Guard.
What? At a half step. Forward. Detail. Halt. Post.
The weapon has been inspected, the magazines removed, and the last round has been fired.
Post.
The American identification tags are commonly referred to as dog tags. These sets are blank, no name, no serial number or religion preference. They represent all those who has died to serve their country.
Post.
The helmet, a valuable piece of equipment. The more than just for protection, how many others have shaved in it, bathed in it, even cooked in it? This helmet will no longer be used.
Post.
These boots, worn and without polish, demonstrates the trails that endured. These boots, which are threadbare, shall never again touch the ground. Now we will place the American flags.
Detail. Forward. Detail, halt. Right, hey. Place.
A moment of silence, please.
Cover.
Last roll call. This is a final tribute paid by soldiers to their fallen comrades. The roll call is accountability conducted by the first sergeant following combat action. Although sometimes painful to listen through, the last roll call is a call with conviction held by the soldiers that all unit members will be accounted for and will never be forgotten. Corporal Sullivan.
Yes, sir.
Petty Officer, Second Class Beza.
Present, Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Porter.
Present, Sergeant Major.
Petty Officer, Third Class Ponce.
Present Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Dudash.
Yes, sir.
Petty Officer, Second Class Lawrence.
Here, Commanding Sergeant Major.
Staff, and this is paying tribute to the Clarks in the Southern family. Staff Sergeant Sutter. Staff Sergeant Sutter. Staff Sergeant Michael J. Sutter.
Staff Sergeant Michael J. Sutter, United States Army, 745th Ordnance Company, killed in action in Bakura, Iraq, 26 December 2003.
Corporal Clark. Corporal Clark. Corporal Kevin M. Clark.
Corporal Kevin M. Clark, United States Marine Corps, 1st Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment, killed in action in Al Arbor, Providence, Iraq, 19 February 2005.
Sergeant of the Battlefield Corps, you will take charge.
Detail, right, hey. And a half step forward.
At this time, we'll be placing the wreath in front of the battlefield cross.
Detail, halt. Left, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, when there's a action or combat mission, this is where our soldiers do pay respect to their fallen comrades. Christmas. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Gets better every year. The wreath you see in front of you, placed by our service organizations, you see the battlefield cross, but there are a lot of service members who pass who were never deployed, but they served their country stateside or in peaceful times. So we recognize all members of our military family at this time on this Memorial Day. Tinley Park Veterans Commission has a number of programs that we conduct to remain dutiful to that promise that we made to remember. And one of those is our new paver bricks that we have installed in the Heroes Walk, which is immediately behind this tent. I highly encourage you after this ceremony. We're going to conduct a small ceremony for the Trenick brick, and I'm glad to see the Trenicks showed up today, and we're honored to go ahead and present that brick. The pavers are open to everyone from all surrounding communities. You don't have to be a Tinley Park resident to have a paver placed on our Heroes Walk. And the important thing to note is there is no commercial entity in that walk. The only names that appear on our Heroes Walk are heroes. That being said, I'm going to announce the pavers that have been placed this year. Thomas J. Seska, U.S. Navy, served 1957 to 59 aboard the USS Newport News, CA-148 heavy cruiser, deceased. Leslie Harris, U.S. Army. According to his daughter, she said, "Leslie is my father. He's still living and will be 95 in August." They attached a short biography, which I'll read at this time. Leslie Harris was born August 17th, 1922 in Canada and moved to Chicago at an early age. He went to Calumet High School and graduated in 41. He tried to enlist when the war started, but had trouble due to his Canadian citizenship, and was told that he would have to go back to Canada. However, a short time later, he received his draft notice from the Army. Leslie went into the Army in January 1943. After his basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, he served as a corporal with the 101st Airborne 501 Regiment I Company. He fought in the 3 major campaign battles. He jumped on D-Day into Normandy, landing in an irrigation canal in the dark of night, and then again in Operation Market Garden in Holland, where he was hit with shrapnel and recovered in a French hospital for a short period of time, only to return to fight in the Battle of the Bulge. He was one of 30 men in his unit to leave Bastogne alive. He was released from the Army in November of 1945, where he returned to Chicago and became an American citizen, and worked as a carpenter and master stair builder of spiral staircases. He married Evelyn in 1946 and has 3 children, 2 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Leslie did not receive his medals until 2006. 10 medals and awards, including the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Good Conduct Medal, Presidential Unit Citation with 1 Bronze Leaf Oak Cluster, American Campaign Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 4 Bronze Service Stars, World War II Victory Medal, Combat Infantry Badge, First Award, Honorable Service Lapel Button, World War II, and Marksman Badge with the rifle bar. Leslie was invited to return to the battle sites in Europe, all expenses paid, through the Greatest Generation Foundation in 2011. He has also been named a Chevalier of the French Legion of Honor and had the privilege of going on Honor Flight Chicago to Washington, D.C. Leslie has since skydived 2 times. Once at 70 years old, which made the Chicago news, and once at 89, this time with his daughter. He loves the games of golf. He still gets out on the golf course a couple times a week at the age of 92. Would you please rise and be recognized? Leslie Harris, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending. I know your schedule's pretty busy, but I'm glad you took this one. Thank you, sir. We also announced the paver of Kai McCarthy. Is Kai here today? We know that there was possible attendance. There we go. Kai McCarthy. Kai served in the 4th Marines at K-Bay, Hawaii. 1957 to 1961. Thank you for your service. Sean Walsh. Sean Walsh here? I'll tell you about Sean. Sean Walsh served in the Illinois National Guard from 2006 to 2012 and was ordered to active duty in support of Operation Enduring Freedom 2008 to 2009 in Afghanistan. He's still alive. Luke Strait, U.S. Marine Corps. We tried to make contact with the purchaser of those bricks. They filled out the information, but we were unable to get a hold of them. But that brick, nonetheless, is in our Heroes Walk. Corporal Daniel Gleich, Jr. of U.S. Marine Corps. Again, we couldn't get a hold of their family or whoever purchased the brick for them. But please, a round of applause for our pavers. One of the other programs that our commission performs is sending off flags to our nation's capital to be flown in honor of deceased Tinley Park veterans. It's an honor for this program to attend, and I'd like to thank Chris Hansley from my commission for spearheading this program and for continuing on in a fine tradition. And joining us to help in this are Chris Hansley and Jim Taylor, who's the current Commandant of the Marine Corps League, and they're going to assist in presenting the flags. I'll make the announcements. First flag, Air Force. I love it. James M. Patton. This flag was flown over Washington, D.C. in October 19th, 2016, and it flew over Tinley in December of 2016. The Patton family, please. Just so you know, these flags are sent to D.C. They're flown over our nation's capital. And then the flag and an accompanying certificate returned here to Tinley Park. We accept the flag and certificate and fly it over Tinley for 1 month in honor of those deceased. And the flag and both certificates are being presented today to those families. And it's an honor to do so.
On behalf of a grateful nation, Village of Tinley Park, I present this flag.
From the Army, James T. Heslin. Heslin family, please. This flag flew over D.C. December 2nd, 2016, and it flew over Tinley March of 2017.
On behalf of the grateful nation and the Village of Tinley Park, I present this flag.
Our third and final presentation of flags is kind of special for all of us in the Veterans Commission because this flag is presented to the Heffernan family. Matt was a longtime member of our Veterans Commission and longtime resident of Tinley, Marine Corps through and through. This flag flew over D.C. December 2nd, 2017, and it flew over Tinley April 2017. The Heffernans. Thank you very much. We just recently had an election here in Tinley Park. And as many of you who've served in the military know, that there's always a changing of the guard and a change of command. And this is very special to me because when I first moved here to Tinley, one of the few people that I first encountered was a trustee who just happened to be a retired brigadier general. And I was still serving in the reserves at the time. And as soon as I saw him, I ended up knowing who he was, and I braced. And he's become a close friend and a very good mentor as far as my ability to serve the community of Tinley Park. Retired Brigadier General Patrick Rea has moved his position within the Tinley Park government from trustee through commissioner through village clerk. And he has changed Tinley Park. I was just talking to my commission secretary, Norm, and he said that when he first moved to Tinley, they didn't have stoplights here yet. So there have been some dramatic changes. But one of the most important for our commission is it's dual fold. If it weren't for Pat Rea, I would not be standing here today, because Pat was instrumental in the formation of the Veterans Commission here in Tinley Park. And we'd like to personally thank him for that. And that's why we have him here today. We're blessed to have him present for us today. Round of applause for Pat Rea. And the other reason this is important is where we sit. We wouldn't be here today at a Veterans Plaza, which was dedicated to General Rea a number of years ago, and in his honor, the Veterans Plaza has now become home to our ceremonies. And despite the fact that you're stepping down from your position in government, your name will be forever etched in our ceremonies as being presented here at the Pat Rea Veterans Plaza. And so thank you, sir, for all that you've done, both for Tinley Park and for me personally. And I wish you every success, and bless you. Thank you, sir. Just as a note, 1968 to 1997, he served both active and reserve, and was commander of the 85th Division, and retired as an intelligence officer. This guy has gone through everything. And he's also been very instrumental in not only our relations here within Tinley Park, but also internationally. He's well known both throughout Washington, D.C., and in our sister cities in Germany. And for the many acquaintances and connections that you've had, it's helped Tinley move to where we are today. And thank you again. We're going to continue with our flag ceremony. So I'll have that detail post. Please rise at the playing of text. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to invite back to the podium our senior pastor from Zion Lutheran Church, Reverend David Peters, for our benediction.
Thank you for your service.
It has been good to enjoy the gift of memory and inspiration. We look forward to the return of our routine with memory and inspiration of what we have heard this day in the lives of those who have gone before us. Once again, I invite you to join me as we pray. Lord God of hosts, in whom our fathers trusted, we give you thanks for all your servants who have laid down their lives in the service of our country. Unite all the people of this nation in a holy purpose to defend the freedom and rights for which they lived and died. Grant, we pray you, that the liberty they left to us may be continued to our children and our children's children. Bless this nation, O God, and help us be a blessing to all the nations of the earth. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. The official portion of this ceremony is going to end. However, we have another presentation that's going to be out on the Heroes Walk. So I highly encourage you to come out and view the presentation of honoring Ed Trenner with kind of a special brick, because Ed was he was a previous chairman of the Veterans Commission and was extremely instrumental in the formation of the commission itself during those years, along with General Rea. And the General brought to our attention that it would be nice to make a special tribute to the Trenner family for all that they've done for us, and so we've done so. And we'd like to have you join us outside. I know it's a little bit hot, but I think we're doing great. Again, I would like to thank the band. And thank you all for your attendance.
All that they did to Tinley Park, and especially to Ed, who was one of our first chairmen of the Tinley Park Veterans Commissions. And it's only fitting that his brick stand out amongst our Heroes Walk. He made such an impact to us, and it's nice that as you look at Ed's brick, you can look up and see Rea's Plaza here dedicated to him. So we have a couple dedications going on. As I told the gentleman, there's going to be a few changes. The metal coins that are in there are from my commission, and we ended up giving those coins the last 2 years. We've given those coins out to each and every World War II vet who's here in Tinley Park. And we made sure that those coins, the front and the back, are embedded in Ed's brick here. So, with honor and respect, I'd like to dedicate this brick to Ed Trenner, World War II veteran and chairman of the Tinley Park Veterans Commission. Thank you very much.